a charger for your phone or any other USB device in your car. Man, what a world we live in today. Give me a second. So, this is a Belkin car charger, and this was found in an alleyway by yours truly, and everything was okay with it. Okay, I'm lying. Actually, it was broken from the start, but I managed to fix it once, hence the tape. But it still is a little bit broken. The contacts in one of the USB slots are misaligned and bent out of shape. Because of that issue, I cannot charge two things at once in the car. I've already fixed this once, and that was due to a ceramic capacitor, and I'll go over that once I'm inside this thing. But for now, the main issue here is that it can only charge once. It can only charge one device because it only has one working slot. So what we're going to be doing is replacing the two USB slots, and that should fix the issue because all it is some pins that are bent out of shape in one of the slots. I don't know, it's hard to tell on camera, but I think this one is good and this one is bad. But it won't matter because I'm replacing the entire thing. And where would you find such a piece? Well, just look at your nearest motherboard and you could find two USB ports in an all-in-one package. And this motherboard is just out of an old PC. You can tell it's old because it still has the parallel port. So we're going to be taking this off and we're going to be putting that into here. Okay, so when you take this piece out of the casing, you're going to have to squeeze these two bits and then pull it out at the same time. That may take a little bit of wiggle room, so just be prepared for that. But once you get it out, there is my first fix. This is a 103 ceramic cap, and I believe that is 0.01 microfarads. When I replaced the original ceramic capacitor that was across these two leads, I did not know the capacitance, and I just went with a 103 because I had that on hand, but it seems to be working just fine, and that was actually the main problem when I found this, because it didn't want to turn on at all. And once I found the short, which was the ceramic capacitor, and took it off, it lit up again. Now that we have everything off, we can get to desoldering the two USB ports on this thing. I have this cap seated on an isolating thermal pad, and I found this pad as well in another device. And I just have a bag of these, mushy pads, and it came, in handy in this situation. But we need to peel this off in order to get to the connections of the two USB ports. So now it's a good idea to go on the donor board and just check the dimensions of the two USB ports and see if they're about the same size. So it seems like all the connections are the same, and the size of it is the same too, so we're all good to go. That could have went better, but I think will be okay, because the middle 2 pins are for data transfer and the outermost 2 pins are for power. And since this thing only charges devices, I don't think that will be an issue. Now it's time to take this off. It took a little bit of heat from the hot air gun, but it finally came out without damaging any other component, which is good. And now I can show you the little difference between these two USB ports. The main difference between these two pieces is that these legs on the new one are a little bit higher than the ones on the old one. And this shouldn't be an issue, because once we finally connect the new one to the board, it will be a little bit raised compared to this one, which had a design to compensate for space, but this one doesn't compensate. And so it's just like sticking out a little bit more on this side. But that difference in space, when it's connected, is so minimal that we can just cut out this amount of space into this plastic piece and have it open. So it's really not big of a deal. And I'll get to connecting this new one. All soldered and done. Now time to test to see if it can actually charge anything before we cover this whole thing up in plastic. Alright, so I got this new device here, accepts micro USB, and let's test to see if the ports work. First port works. Great. Now let's see if the second port works. Put it into the second one. Hell yeah! Alright, we're now gonna fit this thermal pad back on, just so this capacitor stays seated and nothing shorts out. So now that we know both ports on this charger work, we can close it up and make a little bit of space on the plastic. Alrighty, so now we can put this in the plastic. And I just have to make sure the board will align. There you go. You just gotta put some elbow. Oh no! Ladies and gentlemen, I forgot the cap. I gotta take this apart again. After a little bit of elbow grease, spring is in there. Everything's springy. And this is not going anywhere. And we just have a cap to fit on. And this cap is not going to fit. Let's see what orientation. So it'll have to be this way. Yeah, I think it'll have to be that way. So as you can see, this will fit. It wants to fit, just barely. But it is stopped by that plastic on the inside there. I'm going to need to cut out that inner plastic, and then it should fit on. Alright, and after fitting it all together, this is how it looks like. Took a lot of adjusting and grinding, but I made it fit, and I think this is as good as it's gonna get. Alrighty, so now I'm in my car. Excuse the poor lighting, but hopefully, with any luck, we plug this in, and that glows fairly nicely. So we know it's on. Alright, so now I have my phone connected and I'm testing the first port. And it does charge. Alright, now let's test the second port. And there you go, there's power. And now I can charge 2 phones. Or any 2 devices in the car. That's great.